Right, it's in two parts. It's in two parts again.
It's in two parts. Welcome back to part 2. So yes, wow, I really don't know why that happened, guys. But that actually really irritated me.
Right, should we move on to our discussion?
Yes, well basically, Anne shouldn't get away with it. It's not fair, and no, Dick must be sick of his life. That was part. Hello, Gabrielle. Could you just comment? Sorry, we don't know what happened. I was talking and then it just went off.
Technology isn't always our friend.
But anyway, so transgenderism and the war on women.
So in Parliament last week, an event was held. It was hosted by a radical feminist group called We Need to Talk, in which they were discussing proposed reforms to the Gender Recognition Act and how we as trans people can self-identify. At this event, they had quite a lot of prominent feminists speaking. One of them,
Idiots.
One of them was an academic. I don't know how she could be an academic, but an academic called Sheila Jeffries, where she basically compared me and other women like us to parasites, saying that we were invading women's bodies, women's spaces, and that we were a threat to women's liberation because we're deliberately oppressing ourselves because we're men. Well, actually, we're failed gay men, apparently. For those of you that don't know what a TERF is, or a RADFEM, because we're going to be using them terms, a TERF stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, which basically means they're all about feminism, all about women's lib. Great, I'm all about that. But they exclude trans women. They say transgender women have no place here.
But God, here I go.
Yes, of course.
They just sound like a bunch of. Do you know what? I'm gonna get it out, right? So we've got the trans community, we've got the women, the women who were born women, and then in those segments you've got arseholes.
Oh, you've got the extremists, and that is what it is. So I don't think that radical feminists represent feminism in general. I think it's maybe a little bit of a stain on feminism. Just like in our own community, we have some quite militant activists in our community.
Arseholes. So we have more arseholes in every community. So basically, if you listen.
I am.
Because I like Jossie's, other side. Gabrielle, just comment down just so we can bring you in very soon. Trans community, segment of the trans community, wankers. Women community, segment wankers, total arsehole. I will swear as well.
Well, she will.
Men, a little bit more, wankers. Then it even goes in over race, religion, etc.
Oh,
extremist Muslims. There's parts of them that are arseholes. And you know what? I am referring to idiots that stir a fuss up for no apparent reason other to hear the sound of their own voice or idiotic regimes they've got in their head, such as terrorism. Yeah. I'm not now saying transgender people are terrorists because I'm one myself. I'm saying there's segments of each community that we're all part of one humanity where there's extreme types of people. So moving on to the self-identification, I sat today talking to my sister and my nephew, who is just turning 18, Ryan, said, so self-identification, because I was just going through my notes, so self-identification, what does that mean for us? I said, well, basically, you can come to the locker room with me tomorrow while I go to the gym, and you can say, I'm allowed in here because I am self-identifying as a woman. Which means, and probably not so good for you feminists out there, if your husbands go to my gym, that means I can go through to the gym, the male gym section, and go, hey, I'm a man.
Just turn back.
So it's a bit of a and then let me get it in, and that is what boils my pee, because realistically, anyone can be starting out totally fine. What's wrong with just having, if you're so dedicated, and you so really, really want to kind of for yourself. For yourself, be able to be like, yeah, I'm a woman and I had to change a few things, as we do. What's wrong with just being able to get some sort of certificate or whatever, because it protects us from
Exactly.
any
It's
random
all there
man
to protect
who
us.
walks in, a woman, changing rooms filled with trans women, any type of women, any type of spectrum, from a man that comes in and just, it can be like, I am this, I am that. And then it goes over to the women who are saying, like, we're not women, yet part of the women community don't agree with those extremists and the radicalists. They just think, shut up, because that's why it's called a small group of...
Oh, yeah.
it's always a small group, a small group, a small group. And that's the thing. They're just small groups. And what we all need to learn to do is get over it, because they're always going to be there. And in their heads, we're the arseholes, because we're like, yeah, just get on with life, it's fine.
The thing is, what I think a lot of people are going to be thinking is, oh, this isn't going to happen. Nobody's going to just go to a change room and say they are. It is actually happening. There is a group of women in London who are hosting, who are doing a thing called #Man Friday, where they are going to spaces which are for men and saying that we now identify as males. Let us in here. They went to a swimming pool on last Friday, and they went to the swimming pool topless in trunks, and they said, we identify as men, we want to be at this male only thing. Because of the whole self-identification thing, that does mean that that could happen. And the thing is, it does open it up. It opens the door massively for people to abuse that, and ultimately it reflects badly on us. We were talking to quite a few TERFs, funnily enough, on
just
Twitter.
Social media and us, but carry on, sorry.
So we were talking to some of these feminists on Twitter. I don't really think they realise that me and her were trans, but anyway.
I used to be... kind of thing.
We were... I just wanted to know, basically, in black and white terms, is it that they hate transgender women per se, or is it more a case of the more worried about the abuse that could happen? And quite a lot of them said that they don't actually have a problem with transgender women. They understand that being transgender is not something that we choose.
I have one question. What did these women look like? So no, it's a relevant question. What did these ladies look like?
Typical feminists.
Right.
Typical feminists. I don't know how to say it.
So they were part of that, you know, that... Oh, I have to be honest. Most of these women are probably just jealous because we look better in a dress than they do.
Yeah.
Without being horrible. It is.
So getting back to it, they were kind of like saying they don't have a problem with people that are transitioning. It's just more a case of they have a problem with that. They have a problem with people potentially abusing it, which is happening.
In prisons it happened at the moment. In prisons
it is happening.
It's happening, and it's unfair.
The thing is, a lot of people who are transgender are like, no, we can't have a debate. We have to talk about these things. We have to learn how we can move on as a society, because if we're apparently at war with people, we're never going to get anywhere. We're not.
On a lighter note, guys, it's time for now. That's what I call fashion. Well, Donatella Versace says fur is over. Is she not selling enough? Does she need to join the bandwagon of I support this and I support that? Probably.
Or maybe it's just fur's not fashionable. So that's why she's saying it. Not for any ethical reason. It's just because it's not fashionable.
Yeah.
Like, name something that was fashionable years ago and isn't.
A scrunchie!
So
I always have a scrunchie in.
So scrunchies aren't fashionable anymore, take it out your hair. Isn't that kind of thing, and when fur maybe does come back into fashion, is she going to be supporting that? On the subject of fur, it's quite a controversial one.
I've got fur.
Yeah, main fur.
Old fur though.
I say fur. I think there is such a thing as ethical fur. I think that you've got ethical meat where the animal is obviously killed humanely, with no pain to the animal. And I think if the fur is a byproduct of the meat, I see no harm in doing that, because that animal lives on as something beautiful. And if you think about it, we're killing an animal to eat it. Why not make it into something beautiful that'll last forever? Well,
I went one step further. I was in London Fashion Week with Jossie, and these people came running past us, signs who were like, you killed an animal to wear that. So I turned round.
What were you wearing?
What
were you wearing?
I was wearing.
She was wearing a beautiful vintage fox fur coat.
But then I turned round and said, because they had these signs made out of trees. So I shouted, you cut down a tree to hold that sign. And this woman was like, and I was like, yeah, you did. And I thought I was great. And she just kept on running.
Yeah.
She just kept on running. So I think she was known. I was as crazy as she was. And that wasn't going to really be an issue with me. And I walked away with my fur and I was like, da-da, da-da, da-da. And just, all I could hear was Jossie going, watch the walls, don't get it dirty. Because that's what she's like when we wear her fur.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring Gabriella in a few moments, guys. So if you've got any questions following Gabrielle's interview, we will let her stay on and talk while we finish.
Because we've got quite a lot to talk about.
So now that's what I call the news.
Yes, the news.
British Bulldog breeding. Well,
let's give some context. So, we seen last week that Catherine Tate did a news report for the BBC talking about the British Bulldog and how it's actually dying out because of the way it's bred. The dog's faces are being bred to be so flat that they can't breathe, and it was really, it was heartbreaking to watch these poor dogs struggling to breathe. And you can get operations to clear the airways, but not everyone can afford the operation, and some people get these dogs without being able to afford all the medical stuff that they need. Me and Faye, we both have Shih Tzus. Shih Tzus can have flat noses, but whenever we've bred them, we've always tried to breed them to make the snout just a little bit bigger, because we're trying to maybe, in our own little way, better the breed.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's about bettering the breed and making what you produce a better standard of what seems to be producing. And these interbreeding and horrible breeding and bad ill health breeding come from puppy farms.
Oh yeah.
Not from nice people who just want to have some puppies, because we love having puppies, and I do. And I think it's a bit sad that that's where we're going, because not all of us are doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it kind of does give people like me and Faye a bit of a bad name. Like, I remember ages ago, before I bred my little China, who just had puppies yesterday, so we had to get that one in. We would call something on social media backyard breeding, and we were bad and like devil incarnate, which isn't the case. We're doing it because we want to continue on a lineage, and we're trying to make the dogs the best they can be.
Absolutely. And don't forget today, guys, it is World Down Syndrome Day, and we just want to show our support to the ladies on this morning as well, who did the video.
Oh,
it was absolutely beautiful. I thought it was just great. The meaning was there. Everything was there. It was a really well kind of put together video of the carpool karaoke with the children, and I just want to compel those ladies and how fantastic they are, and what they, you know, your child's a child, no matter if they've got an X chromosome or not. Your child is your child, and I think it was really beautiful what they did. It was just a really nice touch.
It was, yeah.
We've also got...
Oh, show them both.
I can't. We've got these odd socks. Mine are odd. Look, I've got pink.
Mine are more odd. But
so we've got the odd socks on as well.
Yeah, and because we know, like, from first-hand experience, that people with Down syndrome can have full and happy lives. I'm involved with the Liberdage Theatre group.
I work with Tristan Duck's Theatre Company, and we do a lot of work, and I just think some days it irritates me that we've got these days, because I think every day should be like, you know, remembered for how precious life is and how lucky we are to just be alive, because this is what I always see. You know, I am transgender, and people always kind of say, oh, it must be really hard stuff, and I always think there's other difficult things out there, do you know what I mean? And I think for me, that's the biggest lesson. Also, in the news, did you read? So, that horrible monster rapist, who I will not even say his name, him and his disgusting friend, who abused a child on the railway lines, wants us all to chip in for some plastic surgery because, well, they've said she's shameless for doing it.
Ah, Shameless. Tina Malone, who was in Shameless. See what you did there.
She said, I had to remember the name. She said, can you just go through that and just invite? She said basically, she shared the picture of what he looks like now. And she's been threatened with legal action. She's been threatened with crap. She's been threatened with more than bloody he got threatened with.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just think, lock him up, throw away the key, and throw bricks at him on a daily basis, because that is exactly what he deserves. He's a monster, and he is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely. Have you seen the guy period campaign?
Oh, right, so...
Wait there, I feel my cycle coming on.
Right,
so... Oh, no. I don't get that.
No,
I feel like... I remember, am I hard done by because I don't have...
Now you see. This is going back to those...
Here we go!
Crazy trans people. They would probably want all period adverts banned because we don't get them, and apparently it's transphobic.
Oh, it's even transphobic
it's not,
to discuss about having a baby. It's transphobic to discuss about having a womb, surrogacy, anything like that's discussable. And I think it's time to bring our final guest on. And today, only guest, because can I call you unreliable? She didn't show up. I mean, cheeky cow. Love her, but you know, cheeky cow. Gabrielle, I'm just going to try and bring you in. Oh, technology works. Yeah, I think the whole period campaign is just a bit silly. It's a little bit silly, but I'm a bit tired of see why. I can see why a show like that didn't. But they've totally sensationalised it. It's like, oh, we'll get a trans guy to come and do it because it'll be great. But why would a trans guy want to be saying he has periods? Because doesn't he not have periods? Doesn't he want to? But why would he want to be associated with anything to do with periods? Because he's a man? I don't know. Give me brain.
Yeah, I can't really answer.
Just waiting for Gabrielle. Okay, come on. It shouldn't take a few moments. We can't answer other people, but we can kind of say, you know, have a think of yourself. And do you think really being attached to this campaign for a paycheck is worth kind of giving up your dignity, respect, and honour? I mean, just to quote a few. We're also in the news. The trans people, are we born with this? It seems like we are.
Well, according to research, they have actually found that part of the brain called the insula. The insula determines how we perceive ourselves. They basically said that is different in trans people. So if you look at a male brain and the brain of a transgender woman, you know, you'll see that transgender woman's brain, the insula, is apparently supposed to be similar to the to a cisgender woman's.
Wow.
So it's all about perception. I think it could be. I think it's true. I think it's true. It would explain a lot. It would.
It would explain a lot. Gabriella, if you're there, just make sure you're online. Just because we're trying to bring you in, just accept to bring you in. It would explain a lot, but I always did like football and sport, but boy sports, and I was quite okay being a boy. I just kind of was very feminine. I suppose I kind of knew. I thought I was gay, if anything. I don't really think. 2 seconds. Gabrielle, are you still there? Just comment and see you are. I'm trying to bring you in. If you want to click request to join the show, we'll accept you as well. I do feel that that's likely. But
I think it develops over time, so I don't think it's...
What, another spectrum?
I just think that the insula, whatever it is in the brain, maybe that does develop over time, and it develops in different people at different times. And I just think it would explain a lot. It would just explain so much. For me, it would. Because, you know, sometimes you do wonder, like, why am I transgender? Why did I have to change?
Do you like being trans?
I like being Jossie. I like being me.
I don't always like being trans.
No, I don't want. I've accepted that. That's what it is.
Yeah, but deep down, really, because everybody thinks me and Josie are very happy, and life's like a box of chocolates. No, 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 no.
We have like days where.
Oh, I have days when I don't even want to get out of bed. I have days when I don't like you and you don't like me. We put up with each other, obviously. Who's gonna make me a cup of tea? The things we go through. And I think it's so it's not letting me join. 2 seconds. We're just trying to bring Gabrielle in. Bring you in. Are you on your phone, Gabrielle? Are you on your phone? But yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It's not an easy life to lead.
Oh God,
no. I mean, because we're on it. It's not easy. It's hard. It's. Are you on your phone? 2 seconds. I'm just thinking. We're gonna video call you. This actually.
This is something we've done a few times, Gabrielle.
We've done this a few times.
Wonders of technology.
Oh, we hate technology. We're going to try and work out how to do it a different way. But this way work. When this way works, it really works. Really, really well. I'll try one more time. Fingers crossed. Can you actually, Gabrielle? Can you ask to be in our video? Because that may work better. Yes.
Yay!
I think she read my mind. Fingers crossed, everyone, guys.
Cross me legs and cross me eyes.
No answer. Wow. Approve. Add. No answer from video guest. I love it. I love it. Oh, I can't even do that now. Oh, she might have went back. She might have went off and came back on. Anyway, we'll wait for Gabrielle. Hopefully, Gabrielle, you can ask to join. But we'll continue. So yeah, so if that's the case, if I can look at that and be like, yeah, that's how I started, then I think things need to be a lot different. And I think that chromosome you should be able to ask for certain things at birth. If you can test for that chromosome. Oh my God! Yeah, so abortion. Abortion. Like that. If you ask to join the video again, darling. Oh, okay, yeah. So that does. But
I get why you.
But being controversial. Obviously, I would never accept. But then not that it's what kind of life are they going to have anyway if the parents are that quick to get a decision. Do you really want to be with that type of family member? I am phoning.
Yeah, we're going to try plan B.
It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. She's active now. We'll see if she's there. It hates us.
Yeah.
Everything hates us. I don't know why. This new phone I got. Should we ring her?
We're doing an old trick. I'm going to put her in the middle of us.
Oh.
Yay! Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
We're really good. How are you?
Good. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties.
Oh, honestly, we've had it before. We're so used to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a comical moment in the show.
A bit of a treat, not really.
So let's get things started then. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I am a transgender woman, and I use pronouns she, her, hers. And I have been on this journey of embracing my truth for about 8 years now. And consequently, I spent a large part of my life trying to understand what it was that was going on inside of me. I had not seen an early child, something different about me. Because at the time that I was going through this part of my life, the internet wasn't around, so I really didn't have the words to articulate this to anyone else, let alone myself. So it wasn't until later on in my life that I found out what was going on inside of me when I started learning about the transgender experience. And there were a number of things that brought me to the place of, Gabrielle, what are you going to do with, who you were created to be? So I got serious 8 years ago and made the decision to embrace my truth fully, and now I show up in the world as a transgender woman.
And how do you feel about what we were just discussing about the chromosomes?
Yeah, about like being
born actual transgender. Because there's been like a new research thing that's came out. I don't know if it's touched in America yet, but it basically says that we're actually born with a chromosome.
No, it's a part of the brain that determines.
Oh, there's a part of the brain that determines
Self-image, and it looks our self-image as female, even though we can,
do you think that's
physically,
the truth, or?
Well, in the work we do, we have to, because we do a lot of voice training. They totally don't understand the transgender experience, so we have to do a lot of foundational training to get them up to speed. You see, as like we were saying earlier, it's just another beautiful aspect of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So we are now seeing more and more in our research, more and more evidence that there's biological evidence that transgender individuals, for example, a transgender woman like myself, has the brain, the composite similar to a cisgender woman, and vice versa for trans men. So trans men would have the brain structure of their cisgender male component, if you will. So we're finding that there is actually evidence that the brain structures really match for us, for our cisgender counterparts. There was not a lifestyle choice. What the choice that I had to make was, what am I going to do with what I was created to be? And that's the choice that I think we all have to make.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel, what do you feel about self-identification in the UK? It seems to be a big issue.
Oh yeah, it's massive. It was the house.
But what do you feel that in America and also in general across the world, do you feel us as transgender men should be able to self-identify just by just saying, or should we kind of need to prove it a little bit?
Well, the reality is here in our culture in the U.S., and probably culture as well, we live by a gender binary. There's either male or female. Anything outside of that norm is considered different. And there are many trans people, specifically trans men, who, once they start navigating through their personal journey, and those that choose to get on hormone replacement therapy, really have a privilege of passing more to what culture expects a man and woman to look like. But for some trans, specifically for some trans women, we don't have the luxury of showing up in the world and women and well. Take me, for example, I'm a very tall trans woman. And when I walk in the room, people, the first look is not so bad. It's the second look that really gets me and said, okay, this person's different. For me, there's no no question. I show up this way every day, and I've learned to embrace who I am. And I think, for any trans person, that's just a part of their journey they have to travel about, getting comfortable with who they are. But I feel like that we should be able to self-identify however we want to identify.
But do you not think that'll... Because that
opens the door.
Do you not think it opens a door? Yeah, do you not think it opens a door to individuals that aren't transgender at all, but see a loophole so they can abuse a system to get into private,
which has happened. I think that they're doing it. They're basically making a mockery out of trans people. By them saying they self-identify in a roundabout way, who are we to question if they identify as male, when we know that they don't really. It is.
Oh, I've got it. So basically, in my opinion, self-identification, because we actually do have M and F on your driving license and your passport. Maybe that's all the identification we need, and that's okay. Because if it doesn't, that means that my nephew, he wouldn't, but he could walk into any changing area where it is a woman-only area for women who are trans and who are not trans, to go in and just say, well, I'm self-identifying as a woman today. And then also, for us, I mean, girls who look as good as we do, honey, imagine us in the other toilets. The women wouldn't want us in the other toilets with their husbands. Trust us. Especially in my younger years when I was a bit single and frisky. I was a naughty girl. So I think that does open a problem.
Mm-hmm. That is a farce. That is a smokescreen of who I know myself to be. Those individuals are doing that to exploit someone like me. Yeah. I'm going to continue showing up the way I am. I'm going to continue living the life the way I live my life. And hopefully, create a normalized culture saying, okay, you're really no different from me when I know you as a person. You may have external anatomy that may not work based off of what I expect a woman or a man to have, but I don't judge you on that. I judge you on yours.
Yeah, 100% agree. I loved everything you just said. But what is wrong with us just having a card that also women would have to identify, just to say, oh yeah, I'm a girl. And another thing as well, what would be so bad with a girl or a trans woman who's transitioned having that? Because it wouldn't say, hey, I'm trans. It would just say, do you identify as a woman? And that would go for women who have been born women and women who've transitioned to be women. Everyone should have to, if they argue about self-identification, it's wrong. Well, then everyone should have to identify. It shouldn't just be a case of the trans people are the ones walking around with the cards. Everyone should have to do it. And if the women who are arguing that self-identification shouldn't be allowed, then they should expect to carry the card as well.
The whole thing with self-identification, I think every trans person at the very beginning self-identify. Like you said before, we do live in a society where the structure is very binary-centric, if you like. So we live in a male and female, and when you're like the us, and you have to transition for whatever reason in order to live your life as your true self from one to the other, as it were, you have to at some point declare that I am now no longer wishing to live my life in a male role. The only way I can continue and grow as a person is to cross over to the female thing. I think it's never black and white, these things. Obviously, we'll have to consider people who are non-binary, that has to be a place for them as well.
Yeah, but then also touching that, Jossie, if, for instance, I know people who kind of live two lives, like they'll go to work as a boy and they come home and they are kind of living who they really are, and they have to do that for financial reasons. There should be somewhere out there where we have countermeasures to stop people, such as anybody like pervert, you yourself and me. Imagine being in the gym and someone comes in and goes, "Yeah, I identify as a girl," and then 10 minutes later you're distracted or doing something and you're attacked. Even a woman or a trans woman, it's a scary situation to be in, and then it reflects bad on us. And it really scares me. I don't think I will have to be walking around with a red card.
When we were in the gym a few weeks ago, and there was hysteria in the gym because the women thought a man had come into the changing rooms because there was a blue towel madness. And the hysteria was there in women. And me and Faye, we kind of just wanted a little bit quiet at first because we thought, well, if we say something and potentially out ourselves, what's going to then happen to us? But like Faye did in the end, we, spoke up and was like, no, this is totally wrong. That could be a person who's early days in transition. You can't just act hysterical like that. And it turned out it was actually a cisgender woman who just had a blue towel. It was an argument over a blue towel. How mad is that?
Yeah. I mean, we all make stuff people say, are they ugly, or am I safe here? And this is a large, big reason. This is a big question for our work because, up here in the States, as you probably already know, there's this huge bathroom issue, about trans people not being able to use the bathroom. And to your point earlier, I want to ask cisgender women when they're, if they're questioning me being in the restroom, I want to ask, show me your ID. I want to see what your ID says.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree. If we've got to self-identify, well, then so have you. Because at the end of the day, hey, I'm going to say it. Some ladies these days who are trans, I can't even clock them. I am like, you're trans? Really? No. And that's not me being bad, but that's just me being honest. Like, even some trans men, wow, you would never ever in a million years even bat an eyelid. It is very easier. It's not easier in that sense. It's easier to aesthetically to change that. And I think we should all just have a card that is part of our driving license. It can just be a thing that's just fitted into the passport, the driving license, the thing you carry around, think a bank card, whatever, that states female. And if you've got that, because let's face it, I'm not going to be walking around with a letter that says, oh, she identifies as a woman. If you've got a bank card that says such and such and it matches your driving license, then there you go.
Well, I'm nothing years ago. My passport was different to all my other documents just because I wasn't in a financial position to change the name on my passport, even though it was changed on everything else legally, fully transitioned. It just makes things easier.
It does. It really does make things easier. So do you feel self-identification, it's too much of a controversy? And if it does get told that we aren't allowed to just self-identify, do you just think everybody should be made to kind of be able to identify how they need to? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And to your point earlier, it's specifically a point of non-binary. And one day expressing a more masculine gender expression, the next day a feminine gender expression. And then you have those individuals who identify both masculine and feminine at the same time. So those individuals are really trans individuals have kind of raised the awareness about the self-ID issue, but the non-binary individuals are really going to push that envelope.
And so do you think, how would a non-binary person self-identify, and where would that non-binary person be choose that they would go, girl or boy? Changing rooms, because that worries me, because I don't want to be in a changing room and then suddenly look over, and because they say they're non-binary or they identify, they're stood with very masculine features, I'll say the least.
Well, and a non-binary individual is going to express how they feel. They want to be able to have that flexibility. I have heard that it's kind of judged by where they feel the safest. Am I going to feel safer in the women's restroom, or am I going to feel safer in the men's restroom today, depending on how they're presented?
Right, so they're kind of taking responsibility for themselves and their own safety, which I think a lot, not maybe not a lot, but there is certain people who don't really take into account their own personal safety. So I think by what you've just said, maybe the majority of non-binary people do have that common sense and know not to go into a place which could basically be bad for them more than anyone else. So,
do you think, Gabrielle, that as a trans person, you should be aware of the situation you're walking into? So, for instance, in Newcastle, we know a lot of trans ladies, and they kind of, I don't know how they kind of disrespect their environment that they're in. So to walk around Morrison's, for instance, with like a tutu skirt on, like really bad wig, back hair, and not care about how they look, and walk into an environment knowing that they're going to get hurt hassle. Do you think that's kind of more, you kind of put yourself in that situation? Why would you do that anyway? Because you know what society can be like. It's not very nice, and we need to be aware that society sometimes sucks.
Yeah, I mean, people, how they present. Now, that's part of their experience. I mean, free transition. I would I wouldn't think twice about going into places that now I say that's the situation. I start looking at the situation assessing it. Is this going to work for me before I even go there? So, yeah, I mean, I think, again, it's all over the place. It depends on the individual's perspective and experience. But I do feel, for me personally, and this is speaking for me, I try to be conscientious about the environment that I'm in to make sure that I'm going to be safe wherever I am. You know?
I think you've got to do that everywhere, regardless. Now these days, this day and age. But how does life differ from the USA to the UK in relation to a subject that we've been discussing? So, for instance, if you want to have children, the NHS in the UK will not help you with freezing sperm. They won't help you freeze your eggs. They don't help you with surrogacy. They don't help you with any type of implantation. And that's our NHS system that obviously is in so much debt and is struggling. In America, you have a healthcare system where you pay to have healthcare. Are things such as that on your healthcare available, or is it the same as the NHS? There's actually no support, because I find it. I had to pay for my sperm to be frozen, and there was no help offered from the NHS. And now that I'm actually trying to have a baby with my partner, there's no other NHS will help cover X amount. It's actually going to cost me £30,000, and there's no help from the NHS. In America, if you have healthcare, are things like that covered?
Yes, you know, maybe depends on where you're located, the experience of what you can experience. Healthcare is continuing to evolve as well. There are some healthcare companies that are more progressive than others, that are more proactive in providing a full range of services than other healthcare organizations. And just like anywhere else, it just kind of depends on who you're talking to and your personal experience.
Wow, that is so interesting, because even in the NHS, which is meant to be all brand, all the same, in parts of the country, yeah, it's like the postcode lottery. If you live in Newcastle, you'll get, depending on what part of Newcastle, you'll get throat surgery and your breast done. If you live in Gateshead, you'll get no throat surgery, but they'll help you with a hair transplant. If you live in London, you'll get boobs and something else. It's like the postcode lottery is insane, when it should just be, as soon as it should be fair for absolutely everyone. We've even noticed a divide in disabilities. If somebody has, for instance, autism or learning difficulties, their kind of visibilities is kind of, it's not there as much as it should be. And they're obviously they're visible straight away or they have learning difficulties, and their sexuality or how they identify as gender is kind of the last thing that's looked upon. Me and Jossie ourselves, we've worked with people who say to us, "Oh, I'm gay," but it wouldn't be not taken seriously. Because of that person, a learning disability or that person's mental health, it could not be taken seriously, which I think is shocking. Like, I think if somebody's saying to you, "I'm gay" or something, like, why not talk about it? And hey, maybe they are, because we all come in different shapes and sizes and different abilities. Just because you have a disability, your gender identification and sexuality, how you identify, should be valid. Do you find it's the same in America?
Yeah, we've heard experiences of trans people going to the doctor and they buy services because they don't want to treat trans. And
wow,
we're talking about a broken arm here. Whether you're a trans person, a cisgender person, whatever, a broken arm is a broken arm. So, and I think people are just using opportunities. Kind of close-minded medical providers are using the opportunity to discriminate against our community when they have issues that they have to address or need to address because of their responsibility as medical provider, based off of religion or based off of they just don't understand.
It just seems in America that there's a lot of holes in the system and things aren't fair. Is this one of the reasons why you got into activism?
Absolutely. I wanted to make a difference for my community, and it took me a couple of years to find out what was mine to do. And because I spent 30 plus years in corporate America, I felt like that would be the best place for me to show up and kind of advance the equality rights for the trans and non-binary community. And it's really working. I mean, the more we show up, the more doors are opening, and people are actually wanting to start this conversation around trans workplace inclusion. What does it mean for us? Because depending on where your organization is, determines just kind of how this unfolds for you, if you will.
I agree with the work situation. I suffer from mental health, and I always have, but I really power myself to overcome it and live with it on a daily basis. And I actually went and did some kind of permitted work to try and help my confidence, because it was really low, at a department store for a makeup brand. And I was so quickly discriminated. Without me knowing, they actually told everybody that I was transgender, and they told everybody my backstory. And then when I walked into the shop and worked there, nothing was said to me. There was just obviously that horrible atmosphere. As you say, the second look, there was that always going on. And I had to leave because of ill health. Do you really feel sometimes that there is a place that such people like ourselves, because I feel we're all very creative as well. I feel really creative people are like us. Yes, we're better. I mean, no, we're equal. But I mean, do you think sometimes certain workplaces just aren't suitable environments for ladies who identify as trans and non-binary? Do you think there's such as I love doing modeling and presenting and getting involved with charities and being hosts, and I seem to flourish, and my mental health doesn't really interfere as much. But when I was in that situation of an environment where I knew people were openly discussing me and it got worse and worse, I just felt to myself, I can never be in that environment again because it was actually detrimental to my health.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, clearly there are workplaces, there are environments so they think a lot of our clients start the conversation that that's all they need to do. But what we try to help them understand is this is not just about you as an individual, embracing a trans or non-binary, a potential trans non-binary colleague, but it's also creating a workplace culture that does the same thing. Okay, it's got to be the whole culture that is on board with being respectful. Understanding the importance of pronouns and how to use them. How to navigate the bathroom situation. So yes, there are clearly environments. I mean, I came from the construction industry, and when I came out, I clearly knew that I was not going to be able to go back in that industry because, one, like you said, Faye, my confidence just wasn't where it needed to be in order to survive. So there are clearly better and worse places to work.
Your cat is just like, hello, yes, hello. I agree, and I actually compel you because I can imagine when you left that industry and you were thinking, should I go back? You kind of, I don't know if you agree, but you kind of thought, am I even going to be comfortable in that environment? Considering the circumstances, is that going to be the place? And what annoys me, right? And I don't know if you'll agree, because I think, hey, if you want to work in construction, go ahead. But be prepared, just as my friend who worked she was a car engineer. She actually went back to it. But what she said is, oh, yeah, sometimes the lads have a bit of banter, but I expect it because
of the environment.
She doesn't cause a fuss. She doesn't get sad about it because realistically, she gets that environment is all about banter and they take the piss out of everyone. So I think what I loved about my friend and also about you there, you understood, nah, that's not going to be a happy environment for me. I'm not doing it. And my friend said, it's not going to be it's not going to be a great environment, but I love it and I'll just learn to banter myself. And now she owns 2 other successful car manufacturers business and she employs the guys that used to work for our old one. So I kind of think swings and roundabouts. If you're conscious of the environment you're going into and you're aware of it, then cool. If you're disregarding the environment you're going into and you're just going to cause a fuss because something happened that you probably knew was going to, then is the fault on yourself. And I just love how you said there, my confidence wasn't my best. I wanted to do something where I would feel like I was really doing something, and you did it, and you've created such a success. But what is next for you? Where do you go on this very exciting journey?
Well, I tell you that so business transformation journeys worldwide, business I'm involved in now, it's going on 3 years, and we're loving the new opportunities that are coming our way. I will tell you that I had 2 other businesses prior to this business that I just recently sold at the end of last year, and now I'm full time in this work, and I can tell you that because of my intentional focus into this work, our business is exploding right now. So we're very encouraged to see what things are doing. You know, what's next for me? I see myself on Ellen DeGeneres show.
We'll meet you there. We'll meet you there.
I would love it. Yes. So, and I'm writing my book right now.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to say this because I feel like this has been a really interesting show. We're going to invite you back on in a few weeks if you'd love to. We'll try and work out if we can get this connection sorted so I don't have to. My arm is killing me. And try and get this sorted out because I just feel you are so on the right level to be on, and you are going to make. They need to come across you. So we want to wish you well, and we want to see you soon. So do you promise to come back on?
Promise. Please reach back out to me, and thank you for doing.
Oh. We're really trying. Thank you so much for your time. Goodbye. Absolutely loved her. Loved her. Well, it's been a crazy show. And all I can say is we're looking to try and fix it. We obviously, as you can see, we moved location today. That could have been it. We're going to actually put a poster after this and try and figure out how to set this up so we're not doing this with phones because it is driving me crazy. Because I get annoyed when things don't work perfectly. But to round it up, I have been Faye.
And I've been Justin.
And I think this has been one cracking show. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Good night and God bless. And enjoy whatever you're having.